Listening to FUBAR Weekly on KDSR, Demo Spin Radio, brought to you by ARC Network Live 365, the station where everyone deserves to be heard. The following program contains strong language and adult content. Listener discretion is advised. All suspects are innocent until proven guilty in a court of law.
We'll do it live. We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. Fucking thing sucks.
Yeah, Bill O'Reilly, the fucking thing does suck. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome FUBAR Weekly Show. Today is Tuesday, the 6th of October, 2020. Almost getting done with this year. It can't fucking end fast enough. Yeah, so welcome. Got Nicole Raven as always. What the fuck? Say hi, Nicole, while I'm answering this.
Hi, guys. How are you?
What?
It's not showing us.
Give it a second. It's showing live.
Oh, okay. Hey, everybody in listener land. We hope you're having a good October so far.
Nice. Well, so far, so good. We're not dead or in jail. Ladies and gentlemen, our guest this weekend is 2019 Best of the Bay comedian. That's Best of the Tampa Bay, in case you're from that fucking stupid state, California. We're not talking about San Francisco Bay. We're talking about Tampa Bay. Ladies and gentlemen, Rick Stepinsky.
Hello.
Hey.
Welcome.
Glad to be here.
Glad to have you. So those not familiar with Rick, he is a comedian down here in the Tampa Bay area. You've been in the game for like 30 years, you said, right?
I started, I think, in late 1990, early 91. It's like February will be 30 years for me.
Nice.
Yeah. Started in Clearwater at Ron Bennington's. I don't know if you remember.
Oh,
he's on Sirius. Yeah. He had his club.
I was actually in studio with him and Fez when they were on WNEW in New York.
Oh, cool.
I got a chance to get in the studio.
Yeah, I was like
with
the
them.
house MC there for about a year.
Okay.
Got to open for some, Tommy Chong, Gilbert Gottfried, everybody who came through.
Nice.
I got to be on stage 5 shows a week.
That's awesome.
Every night. It was great.
Nice. And now we're here. Now you're doing FUBAR.
Yeah.
So,
Now I'm doing a free podcast.
That's how fucking, that's how the world goes. What's that?
I said we brought snacks.
Snacks. Holy shit. That we're never gonna. We had this girl came in as a guest. What the hell was it? Tiffany Baker.
Mm-hmm.
Tiffany Baker.
Should have been Tiffany Baker acted.
Yeah, she should have been Tiffany Baker acted. She came in and I don't know what the fuck she was on, but like the whole time she was like snacks. I want snacks. Like we go live at a certain time. She was here like 2 hours early and was pissed we wouldn't start the show early.
Did you film that one?
Yeah.
Is it on your
it's on
site?
It's on there.
Yeah.
She like sat there and made fucking sound effects. It was weird, just straight up weird.
She's yelled at me for trying to ask her questions, and
Yeah.
you put her in her place,
I
and
will
you're
have
like,
to
no.
check
shut
that out
up.
on the way home.
Yeah, it was like it was a little over a year ago.
Huh.
Yeah, it was maybe almost 2 years ago. That was
It came up on my Facebook memories not that long ago. So yeah,
Okay.
it was fairly recent. Not recent, but like it was
was
within the time
yeah.
period.
Yeah, but check it. Tiffany Baker.
I'll look it
Oh
up.
God, it was.
I'm sure everyone else is looking it up as well.
They should be watching this show. Look it up later after we're
there
done.
you go.
So this one's way better. We've improved vastly since then,
So
structurally.
the first thing I want to mention that actually has nothing to do with our guest, but it definitely serves to be mentioned, is Eddie Van Halen has passed away. 65 years old.
Rip.
Press F in the chat for pay your specs, kids. That sucks though. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
that's young. I mean, he didn't take good care of himself. He was on the road for 40 years, some
Yeah.
shit. I mean, they've been around a long time.
I mean, I just turned 51, so that part of the early 80s, and I remember I was in, let's say, 10th grade maybe. My buddy and I each gave his dad $8 so he could get 1984 on the way home from.
No kidding.
So we would have it right after school, and then and then of course, like most Van Halen people, you heard the keyboards, you're like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
But still, it was a big part of our generation.
Now, you're only a few years older than me, but around, that time, the music of that time still resonates. I mean, it's still there, but, I got to ask your opinion now, because if you were that much of a fan, Sammy Hagar, is that still Van Halen?
One of my buddies, Paul, lives in Boston. He has a hatred for Sammy that it's unbelievable.
Really?
Like he wrote today, he said, I actually went to see a Van Halen concert with Sammy just to see Eddie.
Wow.
And we knew how great that was because
like, how do you fucking hate Sammy Hagar that much, though?
I watch his show on the Access. You ever see where he does the road trip show?
Yeah.
It's it's
not
fine.
bad.
He interviews interesting people, but it's David Lee Roth for me.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty simple.
All right. I remember I'm 9 years younger than you, and so I remember the David Lee Roth time, but really when I was really getting into music was the Sammy Hagar era.
Yeah.
And
was that 86?
It was the late.
I think the
80s.
first album was 86.
Yeah,
86 or 7. Yeah.
It may have been a little bit later than that.
Maybe 88.
But it was it was that bridge between
Right.
the mid to late 80s through the mid to late 90s, and to me, like a lot of those songs, like that's Van Halen, just because that's
what you know.
that's what I knew.
Yeah.
I knew David Lee Roth was in the band, but it just you're young, you don't really get it. So to me, just my ears and whatever. That's like the age old thing. It's like Beatles versus Elvis or Sammy Hagar versus David Lee Roth. Whatever. So how bad has this slowed down your bookings, this COVID? Has it really fucked you over?
I had about 8 shows canceled in early April, March, May. I was booked almost every weekend, and I was really running off of winning the award. And I was getting I don't do it as often as I used to. I have a family, I have kids, I have a job. I mean, I do it when it's fun.
Yeah.
If somebody I like offers me a gig, I take it, but I'm not going to go traipse to Melbourne for one night or something. It's not interesting.
Or hitting freaking 20 open mics a week.
I have never been to an open mic.
Really?
Yeah. I was very fortunate to well, I guess we'll get to that if you want to know how I got into it.
Yeah,
but,
we'll get that in a minute.
when I was we were in high school, just after we graduated, we had a girlfriend. Her name was Robin Green. Still friends with her. She started working at Ron Bennington's at the hostess desk. So we would go and get comp tickets or half price or whatever. So we would go all the time. And we went to an open mic, and Lou Angelwolf, do you know Lou?
I know the name.
Okay, he's one of my best friends in the comedy. He was there. He was probably the headliner that night of the open mic night. And I talked to him after the show. I'm like, I can do this. And so I wrote 5 minutes or whatever it is, and I went back and did I did a Side Splitters open mic night.
Okay.
And then it was a competition. I won some goofy thing they had there. And then I got my foot in the door at Bennington's to be the house MC. So they would just call me every week. Can you be here? And I'm like, yeah. I was 21 years old, and I was like, oh, yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Is comedy something that you were interested in before that, or did you just were you just like, I can do this, and then you did it? And
No,
you
comedy's
had
always been a huge part of our family. We had every Steve Martin record. So we would play the records. We even had the Steve Martin 8 tracks in our car. So we would ride around and listen to those bits of Steve Martin. So that's what made me want to do this, because he was so smart. Anybody who thinks Steve Martin is just the arrow,
no.
He's brilliant with what he does for comedy. So it got me wanting, and then I always want, and then I won a talent competition in high school. I went to Tarpon Springs High School.
Okay.
And they have a Mr. Sponger. There's a talent competition, and I did comedy. I did a half man, half woman. I danced with myself, and I cringe when I think about it. I told Stephen Wright jokes, in character up there in dress, and I won. And it just sort of like, okay, this is something that I can do, and it just snowballed from there.
Nice.
Yeah, so comedy's always been a big part of our family. Yeah.
Very
See,
cool.
that's nice. Yeah, Steve Martin's definitely, I wouldn't say underrated, but it just, you don't think of all he's worth. Like, he's considered one of the greatest banjo players in the world.
Fantastic.
But unless you're looking at those old clips of him playing, it's not something
I went to see him
register.
and Martin Short at the
damn.
Mahaffey a couple 3 years ago. And he has a part where his band comes out and he does the banjo. I mean, that might not be what you want to listen to on your,
No, but it's impressive
but
nonetheless.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
That sounds like a show I'd want to go to.
It was so good.
Speaking of comedians
I like
from
Martin Short
that
a lot.
time, Did you hear what happened with Rick Moranis in New York City?
It's crazy. I saw the video.
Holy shit! Did you hear?
No, what happened?
You know who Rick Moranis is, right?
Yes.
Good. Just checking.
Yes.
So if anybody doesn't know who Rick Moranis is, go crawl back under the fucking rock in which you came from. Rick Moranis was attacked on the streets in New York, right in front of his apartment building. Apparently there was no provocation. This dude just walks up, fucking hits him. How do you hit like the nicest guy ever? I've never met Rick
Knocked
Moranis,
him to the ground,
but
and
I've
walked
heard.
away.
I know people who have met him and say he's like the nicest, kindest, just a sweet guy.
He left Hollywood to raise his children.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a great guy. And if you talk about him and Steve Martin, you know, My Blue Heaven.
Oh God,
it's fantastic.
Love that movie.
Yeah. So that was pretty bad.
I didn't know that.
I think
That's not bad
they
for
got
him.
a good
Like,
shot
within a
of
couple
him, but
yeah. Well, like they were able to track him back.
oh, did they?
The shot they got was him coming off the subway.
Oh,
Like they were able to look at surveillance video and follow back where he came from. They just haven't been able to track back beyond the because God knows where he got on. I mean, you're talking about
He just
how many
like
stations on the line. Just
like he just like attacked him, like
Rick,
punched him in
the
the face.
video, Rick Moranis, the videos, Rick Moranis is walking away from the camera. So he's walking like along the buildings. This dude's walking toward, like just steps in, hits him, and just keeps going. Like doesn't look, just
didn't say anything to him.
Walks up, clocks him, and keeps going.
That sounds like some typical New York shit.
That's some typical New York shit from like the early 90s to the late 90s.
Oh, that's right. They cleaned up now.
Yeah. Well, no, it was cleaned up and now it's back to a shithole.
Oh, okay.
Like the biggest shock to me, I moved down here in 2012, early 2012. The next time I was in New York City was like 2017, and I'm walking through Times Square, and the last time I was in the city, it was Disneyfied. Everything was clean, and I'm walking through Times Square, and there are naked women hustling for pictures. You know, like how in LA you get the low budget characters. These were naked, wearing G-strings and body paint, hustling for pictures. I'm like, this is fuck. Not that I have a problem with fucking naked women. I'm all about it. Just not in the middle of the day Times Square. It just was out of place. I mean, you got like wiggle your microphone. There we go. There you go. Yeah, that plug's fucked. But yeah, middle of the day, there's kids around and shit, and these naked women are just like hustling for pictures. It's just like shitty. But then again, I remember walking down 42nd Street when it was all peep shows, hookers, pimps, thugs, drugs. Those were good times.
Wow.
Sounds like sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
I remember asking my mom for a quarter. What do you need a quarter for? Peep show, 25 cents. I was like 10.
I saw a comic today that my mother of all people sent me, and there's a little card. Yeah, it was like there's a cartoon, and he goes up to, he's like, "Hey, how much for a gram?" And he goes 35, and he goes, "All right, I'll take one." And he comes back with an actual grandma.
Aww.
Like, my mom understands drug jokes.
Where were we going before I dropped in? Oh,
Rick Moranis got
Steve Martin.
got
Steve
clocked.
Martin watching, listening to Steve Martin records. Okay. So that was your big expo, or your first main exposure to stand-up comedy.
Absolutely. I mean, we weren't big on the Richard Pryor and the Carlins and stuff. I'm sure my parents were aware of them, but Steve Martin, I mean, it would be like a road trip. It'd be Steve Martin on the 8-track, you know, Wild and Crazy Guy, and Let's Get Small. Everything was just
same thing with it. But we had Bill Cosby on.
Well, Bill Cosby
on 8-track. I think it was on 8-track.
Was very influential to me before. Yeah. You know, before we all knew what he was.
You know, but even though he was a scumbag, you can't take away the fact that
Bill Cosby
he was
himself
a great stand-up.
Is brilliant.
Absolutely.
We're sitting on that chair. We all know those jokes. Dad is great, chocolate cake. Every comedian I know knows that special by heart.
Yep.
And it was just like, you know, and then we all grew up watching his show, and it was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
How do we not see this?
Well, when you look back, that Al Bundy was the only true good TV dad when all was said and done. It's like scary. He's the only one, like Seventh Heaven. That guy was a pedophile.
Yeah.
That's not surprising.
No, it's not.
I mean, look at Jessica Biel.
She's hot.
Yeah, she was on set. That's why he was a pedophile.
Yeah. So thanks for ruining it. Now.
Do we have to say allegedly, or is nobody's watching?
Yeah. Sue me. I need the fucking. Sue me. I need the publicity. I'll set up a legal defense fund. No. He actually went to, he was incarcerated, I believe.
I believe he might have been.
Yeah, him. The Principal Rooney, or Mr. Rooney from Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
But that was sketchy, though. I want to look into that one. That was just some weird art that he may have had. And
I think it was more than that.
Really?
Yeah. The one that really got me was Kevin Spacey. I mean, forget about the fact. I mean, Kevin Spacey's a weird dude. But just that one, like
They were making fun of him on Family
Yeah,
Guy 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I was in Kevin Spacey's basement or something like that. Yeah.
I've escaped from Kevin Spacey's basement.
I like how Family Guy and Simpsons and a lot of those shows, they call out things that are going to happen in the future.
Oh, the Trump thing is beautiful. Simpsons did it 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
Incredible. Simpsons is amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, did Simpsons really nail that Trump thing, or did Back to the Future nail that Trump thing?
What was the Back to the Future one?
Was it Back to the Future 3 where Biff becomes president, but he's essentially Donald Trump?
That's a good point. I never really thought about that, but it's pretty
Yeah.
close caricature.
Yeah, he's the president of the world, and he's like extremely tan. He was clearly modeled after him. He was like
The
extremely
Simpsons
tanned. with
truly
blonde hair and
nailed
stuff.
They did the elevator, escalator, and
Yeah.
everything. Yeah.
But it was like perfect. Not just calling Trump, but it was Trump against Hillary. I don't think it was actually Hillary, like in the show, but it was like a Hillary-like character,
Mhm.
and like they called the campaign almost shot for shot. Just fucking scary.
We have a fact checker on the show. We have a lot of things to research after we're done here.
Hey,
So.
I'll be
Yeah,
a fact
usually
checker.
she'll check facts, or we just
What are we
go
checking?
with rumors.
Because
Yeah, fuck
we,
it.
we called Ed Rooney a pedophile. We don't know if that's absolutely true or not.
I
but
think
yeah.
like 99.9% sure it is.
Just so you know, the fifth thing that comes down on my autocorrect or autofill on Google is Ed Rooney sex offender.
Oh.
So let's find
Well,
out.
there you go.
Well, first headline: Ferris Bueller's Mr. Rooney guilty in sex case. Jeffrey Jones. Let's see. Let's ask the all-knowing Wikipedia. Personal life, legal troubles. In 2002, Jones was arrested for possession of child pornography and accused by a 17-year-old boy of solicitation to pose for nude photographs. He pleaded no contest to a charge of soliciting a minor, as the accuser was 14 when the offense occurred. At the same time, the misdemeanor charge of possession of child pornography was dropped. His attorney emphasized there were no allegation of improper physical contact. His punishment was 5 years probation, counseling, and the requirement to register as a sex offender. As of 2019, he was listed on the U.S. Department of Justice National Sex Offender Database. Jones was arrested twice for failing to register, first in Florida in 2004, 6 years later in California. In 2006, Jones' record became the subject of community complaint during the production of Who's Your Caddy in Aiken, South Carolina. Upon learning of his involvement, locals insisted the public should have been alerted, considering that families were being invited to visit the set. So it was soliciting a 14-year-old to pose for pictures,
yeah.
but still that's
Creepy.
that's creepy
Yeah.
and improper. So
Sure.
all right. So he wasn't actually a kitty diddler.
Oh, Mr. Kevin Spacey isn't a pedophile, by the way.
He is not.
No,
He just
Well, yeah.
Well,
Well,
for-
the accuser committed suicide.
she was also 18.
It was a guy.
He was also 18.
He was. I thought
Yeah.
it was younger than that.
No, he was 18.
Oh, well, then if Kevin Spacey's gay, who gives a shit?
That's what I'm saying.
Fucking guy can sing. It's
He's
true.
he's
You
an
ever
alien.
hear him fucking sing? What was it? The Bobby Darin movie.
yeah.
You know, well, I was playing a song. I said to my wife, I'm like, this is Kevin Spacey. She's like, no. I'm like, yeah. And then I pulled it up on YouTube. And then his impressions. He was good. But it's crazy how, something like that, even he wasn't convicted. He was never convicted. His accuser committed suicide, which was shitty. But his career is over.
Yeah, but Anthony Rapp said he got him drunk and possibly some drugs and woke up in a bed with his pants off or something like that. Anthony Rapp from Rent. And
Yeah.
so that, yeah, bad stuff. But,
Yeah.
I got a suggestion for you. You should call this show Tangents.
Oh, because we just fucking go.
Yeah, there's no direction whatsoever.
Well, because everything's foobar.
Yeah,
The conversation is just foobar.
exactly.
It's ADHD compliant, what we call it. So back to where we were. The influence, the biggest influence to me, like the earliest true touch with stand-up comedy I ever had, and I've talked about this before, is the 1984 Young Comedian special that was filmed at Dangerfields.
Who was that one? Was that Kinnison?
That was, Kinnison was on it. I don't think that was the one with Dice. Bob Saget, Maurice LaMarche, who went on to do voices for
We used to watch
Pinky and the
those
Brain.
every year.
But that Bob Nelson was actually the biggest.
Everyone knows that.
That was the one.
The football bit.
Yeah,
Everyone knows that.
absolutely. I had an opportunity to perform with him.
Did you?
Yeah, but I can't. I'm not
Right.
allowed.
What does that mean?
He's born again Christian. You cannot curse at all.
Mm.
Nice fella. He actually now lives in the neighborhood that I moved out of in New York. Very nice guy.
So you couldn't do a show?
I would have to be 100% clean, no dropping F-bombs, nothing. If he hears somebody curse, he'll leave. If he hears one of his openers, because he moved to Branson. He made, he hit it big on the stand-up circuit.
Yeah.
He had a couple HBO specials. Then he went to Branson, Missouri, where he was doing a house act at a resort there for probably almost 20 years. And he converted, became a born-again Christian, went completely clean. If you remember his his original bit, he cursed a few times. Not a lot, but a few times. Now it's completely squeaky clean.
Well, the football bit, other than the tight end joke, was...
The tight end joke, and there was the one where...
Does he not do that anymore then, I would imagine?
I don't know. I haven't seen him perform
because you're not allowed in the room.
Yeah. But he during the one at Danger, he pulled the chin strap off the helmet. He said, fuck.
Yeah, yeah. I remember that. Yeah.
Which can be cleaned up, easily. But, but that was my first true exposure to stand-up comedy. And it was from there, it was just, I fell in love.
Yeah.
I didn't anticipate on doing it. I didn't start performing stand-up comedy until I was in my 30s.
Oh, okay.
So I was a late bloomer. But I always, that was like the catalyst for my love for comedy.
I think that even after high school for me was when Comedy Central would show short attention span theater.
Yep.
And they would just it was just clips of comedians all day. And I had an opportunity to film a couple of those, but they never made it to Comedy Central. They just weren't what they were looking for or something.
Yeah.
But they would do that all the time. When I first started, they would have, hey, we're going to film tonight, and hey, great, and it just never worked out. But that's what kind of, I'm
so old. I remember when Comedy Central was funny.
Yeah.
I remember when Saturday Night Live was funny. I remember when Eddie Murphy was funny.
You're so jaded.
I know. I'm just a dick. I'm just a dick.
I was watching Tina Fey last night.
She funny.
Yeah, I like her a lot. You were saying Saturday Night Live, and I'm pretty sure she's still a writer on it, producer, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Both.
So from the Steve Martin times, coming up, and you hit it pretty early, and you kind of got into it. Comedy was a different game back then, back in the late 90s.
The boom of comedy had just ended.
Yep.
The first boom of the 80s.
Yeah.
Because I started in like 90, 91, and I did the Bennington thing quite a bit. And then I had another friend who worked at Bleachers. It was a sports bar.
Okay.
And Coconuts was going to open a room inside Bleachers. And she said, hey, my friend's a comedian. So I came down, and they actually had me audition in the kitchen for Frankie Paul.
Oh, shit.
And I can't remember who the other guy was. And they were like going, I don't care. He's the MC. I don't give a shit. If he's, but I mean, it was good enough. And so I was able to do Bennington's one weekend, Coconuts the next weekend, 5 shows in a week for 2 years.
Damn.
And then finally Coconuts was paying me in beer and food. And then after that, they go, we're going to give you money, because I was just drinking like insane.
It was cheaper to
I was
pay
21, 22 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then I went to Bob and I said, I need to go on the road. So they sent me up to Florence, South Carolina. I did my first show on the road in 93 or 4. And I got to the hotel, and there's like a Thunderbird Inn. And Mike Chiselka was the headliner. I haven't heard from him in years, but we get down to the bar, and there was 3 people in the bar for my first show on the road. It was also the 7th game of the Stanley Cup where the New York Rangers were playing.
I remember that. I remember that week.
The people in the hotel wanted to watch the game.
Yeah.
We weren't going to get paid if we didn't do the show. Now, Mike, maybe being the headliner, he had maybe a better chance to make some cash. I had to do this show, or I wasn't going to make it to Winston-Salem to do the next show.
Gotcha.
So I did a show for no one, while 3 people at the bar, at the other side of the bar, watched the hockey game. They didn't turn it off. That was my first trip on the road.
That's like an open mic in Tampa.
Yeah. I'm a member of the Tampa Bay Comedy, and I know all these people, and just reading the stories is just unbelievable. It's a great hang. People are great friends, and that's cool. But
I had run an open mic out in Brandon at O'Brien's.
I know where that is. Yeah.
Not real nice.
It was a Coconuts many years ago.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
That's a perfect setup. But they wanted us to do it on a Wednesday night. And they were paying us. It was great. I mean, money was decent. but they were paying us to do an open mic on a Wednesday night. It was every other Wednesday. But the problem is, A, they wouldn't shut their TVs off.
I hate that.
Okay. Yeah. Which
They could at least silence them and put the captions on.
But here's the biggest problem is Wednesday nights there was an adult kickball league that would come there after their games.
Perfect.
No,
I know,
because they don't want to see.
Sarcastic. It's
They were just loud talking amongst
They want
themselves.
to drink.
They want to drink. They want to hang out and party. We did we did one night. Rio Paris was there, and Rio just fucking laced into him for not being quiet. The next week, I got a stern talking to that they're spending money. If they want to be loud, suck it up.
Yeah, no, what's funny about open mics is they're everywhere.
Oh yeah.
Now, I know this is gonna make me sound like I'm old because I am, but when I started, there was Bennington's and there was Side Splitters. That was it.
Yeah.
In all of Tampa Bay, McCurdy's maybe did it, but I'm not positive. But that was it. Now you go to the bar where the guy and you can start a show, and it's advantageous. It's great for all because there's so many comedians.
Yeah.
And they can get a chance to go on 5 nights a week if they want.
The problem is they're going on 5 nights a week in Tampa and then trying to do a show where they're trying to sell tickets in Tampa.
Yeah.
Well, why am I going to buy a ticket to this show here when I know you're going to be at this open mic for free next week?
Yeah.
And it's really hard to do. And the other thing that I noticed is, I'm originally from New York. I travel and perform up there quite often as I can. On Long Island, there are 7 million people living on Long Island. There are 3 comedy clubs.
Really?
Yeah. Think about where you're sitting right now. Improv, Side Splitters, Snappers, Coconuts, within this, community of maybe 3 million people in the Tampa Bay area. You have all these Club McCurdy's if you want to travel a little bit. So you have, there's almost too much availability to perform. It's like, I don't know how these guys are making money.
Well, there was 5 times that club in the 90s.
Yeah.
Because you had Giggles. Coconuts had 20 rooms. They were all over. Every town had and then one-nighters, you Winter Haven and Lakeland and all these Coconuts and Giggles had 20 rooms and they were just everywhere. And then you'd have these standalones and bars and I think it's been watered down to maybe too many open mics. And some of the veteran guys complain about it on the Facebook group. And I don't care. If the guys are getting up and somebody like you is putting on a show and you're making $150 or something and people get a chance to do shows, great. But then when you do a showcase, you gotta get people to pay for that.
And that's the tough part. I've put together a couple shows with some out-of-towners and that's worked out okay. But for the most part, it's, there's a complete saturation of mics.
For sure.
Absolutely. I haven't been on stage now since February 8th.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, when the shutdown, we were supposed to be staying at home, I did 2 Facebook Live shows.
Okay.
From our living room. And I told my fiance, I said, I'm going to do 30 minutes. And each one was like an hour and 20. And I wrote complete new material for both hours.
How awkward was it? I got invited to do a couple, but I was
okay
nah.
because my fiance was behind the camera and we had a couple of friends and we were all drinking. So I heard some laughter.
Okay.
And I was getting the comments, so I knew people were watching. But it is very strange to just be working to an iPhone.
Ben Bailey, you know who Ben Bailey is
From Cash Cab?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a stand-up.
Right.
He's actually he's fucking hilarious.
Right.
But he's been doing regularly, like every couple nights, he'll go live. And it's like the camera's almost right in his face behind a drape. And he'll just go on and just do comedy for like an hour. Just out of the blue, no publicity, just go on and just do it. And I'm watching it and I love the guy. I've talked to him a couple times, really nice guy. I'm like, this is awkward to watch.
Yeah.
Like I get he's working out stuff and getting feedback and he's responding to the comments, but it's awkward to watch, let alone perform. I got invited to do a couple of those Facebook Live or Zoom stand-up things. I'm like, I just can't do it.
I looked at it as a challenge, because I
get it.
I lost a lot of gigs and people were at home because I did one in March when everybody was at home and then another one in April. And I looked at it as a challenge. Try to write an hour's worth of not topical humor, because I don't do topical humor. My jokes are about my life, not the news or what's. So I did a little bit about the COVID stuff, and I found some things that turned into jokes that I now use. But I really looked at it as a challenge to write, because I don't write. I have a little bullet point of 10 things I want to talk about, and I go up on stage and I see how it goes. I know that's not what I would say to somebody who's just starting, but I'm not a good writer.
Everyone's got their own system.
Yeah.
Adam Sandler does not write, doesn't even go up with bullet points. He just goes off the deep end and just does his act.
Sure.
Just whatever's popping into his head. Whereas Carlin, who's considered one of the greatest, every word he
Seinfeld's
said,
the same way.
everything he did, every little thing he did was already, he's just basically reciting a script.
He was a master of language.
Correct.
So that made sense for him.
Yeah.
I go up and I have an idea, and I like to see where it's going to go. I do a lot of crowd work.
See, that's what's nice, is being able to, not reading from it, because one crowd may find it funny. I mean, if you're going to a Carlin show, you know what to expect. Right. But when you're not truly familiar with who you're going to see, you're able to, move whatever direction the audience, and that's kind of nice.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of kind of making things up on the spot. I know it doesn't work for everybody. And I have a general outline of what I like to talk about, but I read the crowd too. So
you have to.
Yeah.
You have to.
Yeah. I've always been crowd work. I can have 20 minutes of jokes and I can do an hour show. And it can be a great show from a feedback.
Yeah.
I love the crowd work. I did Snappers. I filled in for somebody a couple months ago, and it was great. And there was a young girl in the front row, and she was very young looking. I kept pointing out, have we carded her? I mean, it was incredible. And then I started talking about my son. I go, well, he's 10, he's in third grade. I go, well, you probably know him. And I just kept coming back to it. And then I built that into building it in to part of my show. And you can use anybody.
Yeah.
Because then someone's going to be flattered that you think they're 18 or whatever, but she really was very young, but it worked out to become part of my normal bit that I talk about my son.
Crowd work's not easy.
I love it.
Yeah.
I've always loved it. And I got my start doing it with Les McCurdy.
Okay.
Who's the king of that. And I used to go down to his club all the time, and I headlined there a bunch of times when they were at the old club at the Big Kitchen, and crowd work. And then he'd say, please come. I got this big weekend. Just come and MC for me, because I can't be there, because I want you to do the crowd work, because his crowds love it.
Okay.
Some clubs you go to, the club owner or somebody will say, don't do it. We don't want it. Because some people don't know when to stop.
Yeah.
They think
that's also true.
I've made you part of the show, but this is still my show.
You need to know how to, you need to know how to get them to stop.
Yeah. Especially if you do the late show.
Yeah.
That's a rowdy, drunk. If you start getting crowd work, it's trouble.
Or it's a good time.
Or it can be fantastic, but it can also be terrible.
Yeah. It can go sideways real quick. I've only been down to McCurdy's once.
He is the nicest man that you'll ever meet in the business.
My meeting with it was hi, how you do, was part of a open mic, next comic standing kind of thing he did. So it was really brief. I didn't win that shit.
He was a big part of my career, getting to me this far. Because super nice.
Yeah, that's how a fat guy sneezes.
Bless you. I don't know if anyone saw it.
Yeah. That's all right. No, they saw I sneezed right at the camera. No, I don't have coronavirus. It's a pack a day. It is.
So how are your lives been affected by this?
Hers. That's a sore subject with her.
I worked before all of BC was our guest who called.
Thank you, Benny.
He complimented your shave job.
No, he said bless you.
Oh, okay.
I sneezed.
Before all this, I worked mostly as an independent contractor, kind of as a performer of various styles of dance, making costumes for performers, go-go dancing, belly dancing, doing this, whatever. I was very much a hustler, so to speak. And then around mid-March, early April, I lost all of my jobs. So then I got a real person job.
Like a grown-ass woman.
Like a grown-ass woman, and then I hated it. Which I recently quit. So but now stuff is starting to come back finally. So I was telling you guys before we went on air, and I'll talk more about this towards the end of the show, but I got finally booked for something. I started to get booked for like weddings and private parties again. I have one in November lined up, one in December, and then one on Halloween. Well, a different type of event in Halloween.
When you just said that, doesn't November, December still seem like it's a million years away?
Yeah, because
and then you just said that. I go, well, that's
literally next month.
Yeah.
So
Christmas is like 80. I think it's less than 80 days now.
It's insane.
Yeah. So I'm counting the days till Halloween, and I don't even know how many there are. Sorry.
There are 25.
Sweet.
25 days.
I need to put a countdown calendar
So
on my
things
phone.
are opening again. I mean, we're not going to do politics, but our governor's a bit of a buffoon, and somehow that might benefit us because he's opening things up.
Well,
I think governor and buffoon kind of go hand in hand no matter what state you're in.
The thing that kind of pissed me off is that I was considered an essential worker, so I never stopped working with the public. And I'm like, if I'm putting myself out there working with the public, why couldn't I just have been doing what I was already doing?
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
as far as me, I had tons of show dates canceled. I had 2 New York tours I had to cancel. That was just a shit show, but I have a full-time day job, so I had money coming. I kind of hoped my boss would fire me just because I would have made more money on unemployment than than working. But unfortunately, we are an essential service that we provide my day job, and so that didn't change. So I've been out, like my life, my day-to-day life really didn't change much because for the most part I work remotely. So that didn't change. It was just the matter of not being able to do shows is what changed.
Sure.
So I lost out on that money, but it is what it is. It could be worse.
Yeah.
But every state is fucked up, like just completely fucked up. The thing I got to laugh at today was Andrew Cuomo, the governor of New York. His brother Chris has got the show on CNN. Ripping the president apart for not wearing a mask, and then I get pictures sent to me from this past weekend. Him at Claudio's in Greenport. Him standing around, sitting at the walking around, no mask on because he's Chris Cuomo.
Mm.
It's that shit annoys me, and it's politics and news people. Just stick with it. Either wear the mask, don't wear the mask, don't bullshit. That's the biggest problem with politics at all. Is just the level of bullshit.
It's pretty deep.
Very deep. It's all bullshit. No matter who you're voting for, no matter who you support, it's all bullshit. They don't give a shit about you.
So you haven't even been to see anyone else do comedy since your last show you said was in February?
My last show was February. That was the last time I was on stage.
Oh my gosh, I just realized I haven't seen anybody either. I haven't watched anybody.
Yeah. I haven't been. Yeah.
I did 2 shows at Snappers in August.
Okay.
And they were socially distanced crowd. It was half capacity and they were sold out. You have to mask to go in, then you unmask and you at your table.
And I have no problem with that.
And it was 2 nights. So I went the first night. My fiance goes, just tell me what it was like. And then she went the second night and it was like, okay, it was comfortable. And we did. I love Snappers. That's my home club. I'd be the first place I would perform in town. I love those guys over there. But I felt fine doing it. And it was good to see people out. And I think if they're doing it the right way, which Snappers is, I don't know how the other clubs are doing it.
Yeah,
they must be, because I know Side Splitters is running and Coconuts is running now again. And so they must be finding that way to, because Bob and his wife, Kathy, I follow him on Facebook. They were dying to have comics come back, not only for their own personal gain because they own a club, but they appreciate the comics and they know everybody lost a lot of work. And so it was a big deal when we're allowed to go back.
And that's, like in New York, one of the biggest reasons why I lost out on that was because the governor made a mandatory 14-day quarantine if you were coming from a state like Florida. Yeah. So for me to go up and do a week's worth of shows, I would have to come 2 weeks before and sit and twiddle my thumbs for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Because, believe it or not, I'm an asshole and I've pissed a lot of people off. And somebody would rat me out. Somebody like, he didn't quarantine, and it killed it. It absolutely killed. I was scheduled to do one show in a tent in a park, and this was This was actually scheduled before COVID. We were going to do this outdoor show in a tent and supposed to have a truck with Zeppelis, which if you don't know what a Zeppeli is,
I do.
oh, so I didn't even have to ask what I was getting paid. As soon as my guy told me Zeppeli truck, I'm like, I'm fucking in. I don't care.
You know what's funny is my mother is full-blood Italian.
Okay.
So we called it sfinge.
That one's a little different.
It was just dough. We made it with my grandmother. It was dough, and they'd fry them, and then you put them, and then they powder sugar, and they're almost the same thing.
Yeah, they're a little different,
Yeah.
and I forget what the subtle difference is. I'm Polish. So.
But I mean, my dad, Stapinski, we're Polish and Italian. So.
Well, that's what I was going to say before when you said about your name being misspelled.
Yeah.
Nicole wrote it. I don't think she knows the subtle differences between Jewish and Polish.
Why?
Jews are sky, Poles ski.
I'm on camera. I'm sure I'm shining here, but
yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's all right.
Did where did I miswrite it? I don't even remember.
On Instagram. I fixed it.
Oh,
I fixed it.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Sorry.
No, it's been that way my entire life.
Yeah.
Sorry.
SKI is the more traditional, I guess.
Well, I'm Polish, and growing up in New York, my father's from Greenpoint, Brooklyn, which is a heavy Polish community, still is.
Yeah.
The way we were basically taught was SKY was the Polish Jew spelling.
Mm.
If you were Jewish and usually from Poland, your last name was SKY. If you were Catholic from Poland, it was SKI, and it wasn't an exact science. There were obviously variations, but in the New York area, if you look, SKY, typically they'll be Jewish.
Yeah.
SKI, they're Polish.
Well, we were from Chicago, so there was
There's plenty of Poles there.
quite a bit up there. Yeah.
I couldn't tell by your shirt and also the sticker on your car
Oh, and my tattoo.
and your tattoo.
So you're originally from Chicago.
Yeah, I was born up there, but I grew up in Tarpon Springs.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean that's where home roots are, but I grew up here in Florida.
Nice.
Yeah.
Tarpon Spring, that had to be like weird growing up there. Because
It's
a weird spot. I got a good friend who lives there.
I
It
like
was a
that.
great place to grow up.
I
mean,
like it there.
There was, because when I graduated in 1987, they hadn't yet built all the high schools that were all around.
Okay.
So everybody
it's just Tarpon Springs.
everybody
High School?
from Palm Harbor and Clearwater, we had a huge school.
Okay.
So we had the Greek community and then all of us that went there. So, when they have the Epiphany, we all went. It was all part of our culture and the whole thing. We're the Spongers, for crying out loud. That's our nickname. The only one in the world, high school with the Spongers. So all that was very cool. But it was a great place to grow up. I still love to go back there whenever I can.
A friend of mine's there. She actually works for the city, and she loves it. And the downtown area is really, really
Sure,
cute.
it's great.
Really great. But it's like I'm trying to think. Tarpon Springs, the two things it's famous for is sponges and the guy
Greek people.
Greek people. But the guy that sang the song Key Largo,
Ah.
Bertie Higgins, he's from Tarpon Springs.
Oh, I
I
didn't know
got a
that.
Bertie Higgins story if you want to hear it.
Fucking
Let's
yeah,
go.
hell yeah! I want to hear Bertie Higgins' story.
There's a band shell down in Craig Park in Tarpon Springs.
Okay.
So my brother and I are little. I'm 12, maybe 10, 11. He's 3 years younger. So we're all riding our bikes, and there's some guy sitting in the band shell strumming a guitar, singing songs. So we're hitting the tennis ball off the wall, and we're listening to this guy. And then, damn it, if 2 weeks later, this song's not on the radio, it was Bertie Higgins sitting there at the thing. So its song blows up. It's everywhere. Key Largo, it's everywhere. I used to go to the boys club a lot.
Jiggle the
Sorry.
cable.
Put it
Yeah,
down again?
It's all right. Yeah.
I used to go.
Should we trade mics?
No, it's not the mic. It's the cable. Hit it one more time. Just
No.
play with. Just jiggle the wire. That's it.
Hello?
There you go.
Got it?
Don't touch it. Don't breathe.
Got it?
Don't breathe. You're good. All right.
All
So
So I went to the boys club.
okay.
And so Bertie Higgins was doing a concert at Astro Skate at the skating
No
rink in
kidding.
Tarpon. The boys club got to be his road crew.
Okay.
So we got to
Roadies.
go and set up lights and
That's cool.
I'm 12.
You know who gave Bertie Higgins his like big push? Burt Reynolds.
Really.
Yeah. Yeah, he was part of the Burt Reynolds entourage.
And then, I know Bertie, I don't know if he's still around or not, but
He's still alive. Yeah.
yeah,
He just
so-
looks like shit.
years later, the song went to #1. You never heard from him again. He got into a car accident,
Oh,
drunk driving. I think he may have killed somebody. Might have fact checked this so we don't get sued. But
I don't think Bertie Higgins is listening
Yeah.
to this.
and so he tried to settle with the family by whatever amount of money he could give them lifetime tickets to his concerts.
That is fucking shitty.
Bertie Higgins.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah.
So yeah, those are my
So,
Tarpon.
I'm
Bertie Higgins
gonna give you
stories.
lifetime tickets to see the man who killed your kid.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Well, your
I
family
remember.
member.
I remember
That's
reading about
fucked
that. I
up.
was just like, what?
That's fucked up.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's like
He was drunk driving.
Yep.
drunk driving.
Drunk driving got to send to jail.
And
for the
he
DUI.
actually came. I was in middle school. He came to the high school. We were talking about pedophiles earlier. Allegedly, he scouted girls to be in his video. So the girl in the boat,
Yeah, she
in
was
his
like
video,
16.
she's like a sophomore.
Yeah.
And he's like, that's just girl is love interest. And he's like 40 with a full beard and just weird.
Oh, he was arrested with a DUI and got sent to jail for killing a 17-year-old girl in a hit and run.
Yeah.
DUI.
Yeah.
So that was even worse because it was a hit and run. So
So we're not talking out of school here. He did some bad things, but
Give me 1 second.
so those are my Tarpon Bertie Higgins stories. If anybody,
It's fun. That's funny that you have Bertie Higgins stories.
I have I have 3 of them. It's ridiculous.
fucking
Who has 3 Bertie Higgins stories? Yeah.
who's the who's the most like I guess famous person you've been able to interact with through your comedy? Like somebody
Non-comedian, you
Like
mean?
somebody
yeah.
that I didn't work with.
I don't know, I don't know, somebody's in the audience who you didn't know, and then you found out later that they were there and you met them, or non-comedy related that you ended up meeting
don't
through
know
by
if
way of.
That's really ever happened.
Okay.
I do remember because I also have a day job. We all do. All comedians do. I'm a salesman, and I was a guy in the front row, and I was just crowd talk, just going after him. He was loving it. And then after the show, he comes up and shakes my hand, and he tells me his name, and he's like one of my customers. He's like the
shit.
boss. He's the guy
Oh
who makes
shit.
the decisions for, but he loved it, so
So that's good.
but I've never had anybody just kind of sneak in that was famous that, other than opening for famous people or touring
Yeah.
with some famous people. Yeah.
Gotcha. Do you talk about your work in your act?
No.
Okay.
No.
I'm just wondering.
Most of my act is I have 3 kids,
Mhm.
about to have 2 stepsons, but I have 3 children. They each get about 15 minutes.
Okay.
I have almost 10-year-old, to be 10 in a few days. I have a 13-year-old and I have a 20-year-old. So I've had 2 girls and a boy. I've had all experiences and they each get about 15 minutes. So I have an opening, which is usually just crowd talk and local stuff, and then 15-minute blocks, and then mix in some stuff about me and my life. And
Okay.
Okay.
but I think I told you guys off air. I'm getting married on Thursday of this week, and
Congratulations.
we are going away next week, and we're already switched into vacation mode. We're
Nice.
just honeymoon. We can't wait to just do something. We're going to Savannah and Charleston
Nice.
and just drink.
Good time
and-
of year.
Yeah, and be up there for the different weather. And we haven't done anything. We haven't been anywhere since February, like everybody.
Yeah.
So we're hoping it works out, and we were going to have everybody at the house, but now we decided that was a bad idea, with everybody being sick and
Yep.
traveling from all points of Florida. So we're going to the Pinellas County Courthouse on Thursday morning. We're going to do it, and just the kids, and take some pictures with a friend of mine from Tarpon is going to take some pictures,
And then when
and then we're done.
then have a party with everybody after this ends.
Yeah, we're going to have a thing on Saturday with some close friends.
My
and just be
cousin
done with
just
it.
got married a couple weeks ago, and that was I was supposed to go to the wedding up in New York, couldn't go because of the whole quarantine restrictions. So I told her, and she was upset. My father was her godfather, and my father passed away a few years ago, so it meant a lot for us to be there for her. I told her, I said, this is out of our control. She was really upset. Why does this have to happen to me? It felt so bad for the kid. But I said, just relax, get married, enjoy your day. Next summer we'll come up and you'll have a barbecue. We'll do a backyard party with you and your husband, and we'll party then. Just roll with it.
Yeah.
And
that's what we're going to do.
you have to. There's no sense in losing your mind.
My
over
mother is older, and her mother's older, and all these people. We weren't going to have 30 or 40 people at the house, but
still,
it's too
people
much. It was
coming
too
from-
much.
The
Yeah.
way I look at it, and when I was looking to cancel one of my New York shows, this was the thought. A lot of the people that are coming to the show are friends and family.
Right.
If somebody gets sick,
Yeah, you would hate it. You'd be
I'd
miserable.
hate myself.
If it was
Yeah,
it was your fault.
exactly. So that was a big reason to cancel it. And
Roger, have you ever been anybody's best man?
Yeah.
You give the best man speech?
Yeah.
Okay. I was just wondering. You seem like you'd be a good best man.
no, I'm an asshole. Nobody likes me. No,
That's why you're
I
a
was
good best man.
I was my brother's best. Usually when people invite me to weddings, I don't go. I hate weddings. I fucking hate weddings. Personal thing. But my brother, I was my brother's best man, and his was good. We always tormented him for being gay. He's not gay, but he married a chick named Ryan. So we always assumed that he was going to marry somebody named Ryan. We just didn't expect to be a good-looking girl. But my speech was I can't remember what I said, and it was that was one of the jokes I threw in. It's been an ongoing family joke. I love my brother is the greatest guy, and he's going to listen to this. So I love you, Randy, and I'm not just saying this because you're going to listen to this tomorrow. But my brother's just like, he's a weird kid, but he's like he's a good person.
Randy and Ryan, how adorable.
Randy and Ryan. It's actually Randolph.
Oh,
sorry, bro. Yeah, it's Randy and Ryan. And she's a sweet girl. He's cool. A good kid. So, but yeah, I was his best man. And I remember I did my speech because I can't remember things. I get brain problems. So I wrote it on index cards. I remember I was walking around, almost not quite doing crowd work, although I was talking to people, but I had everything, my speech on index cards. And as I was, done with the card, I was just doing the David Letterman thing, just throwing.
Mhm.
So by the time I was done, there were fucking cards everywhere.
nice.
Can I give you my favorite piece of relationship advice?
Sure.
For your new marriage, your new
Sure.
amazing relationship that
Sure.
you're about to have? I know you said you've been together for a minute already. Keep the fights clean and the sex dirty. Yeah,
I don't believe we've ever had a fight.
that's good. I thought you were gonna say you don't have never had sex.
No.
Yeah.
But it's been since January of last year, and I don't think we've either ever had an argument.
Good.
Yeah, it's really, really good.
Good. It's good to like have civilized discussions and
for
stuff
sure.
like that. So
what do you want to do 20 questions?
yeah, I
Is
have
it like 110 degrees in here, or is it just?
It's
Yes.
hot.
Is it just me? Yeah.
It's hot.
it's always
Is that
100.
coming across on the camera? That
Well, I'm fat. I sweat, and I have a tiny little fan here
I see
blowing.
that.
That's it. The air conditioning in this building sucks ass.
I have a Florida man story you might appreciate before you get into
All
that
right.
if you want.
All right, give me Florida. I love Florida, man. You know that.
So in 2016, we all remember that horrible thing that happened with that cute gorilla that dragged a baby.
Dicks out for Harambe.
So we also had a hurricane that year, Hurricane Matthew, and apparently a Florida man interrupted the Hurricane Matthew broadcast to yell, "Dicks out for Harambe."
Nice.
So I thought you'd appreciate that.
Not all heroes wear capes.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm not confirmed, unconfirmed, because he just ran by the video, because I saw the video earlier. Tell me that's not John Jacobs.
That's fucking John Jacobs. Seriously.
So anyway, looks
It's
like
not John Jacobs.
it's not John
But
Jacobs.
yeah, it's the hair. It's the hair.
Yeah. But
yeah, I saw you had him on last week, and he was.
We didn't have him on.
Jesus.
We had
He was in
Jesus here.
character
We had
the
Jesus
entire.
here.
That's commitment.
That is
Yeah.
commitment. He should be committed.
Yeah.
You know, I thought of so many more questions I wanted to ask Jesus.
Yeah, I know. So did I.
So
I almost want to call him back, dude. We don't even have to go live. You just want to come in and just do a taping.
So the 25 questions, just random things that you've come up with.
Yeah. These we ask these questions just about all of our guests. Some are deep and philosophical. Most
Okay.
are light and topical. But it's so the audience can get to know you. So we'll start off nice and easy. Number one, what is your non-alcoholic drink of choice?
I actually enjoy Perrier.
Yeah.
They have so many flavors now because I'm in
Really?
my car all day. I get a sparkling water every day,
All right.
1 or 2 a day.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I know, but
Yeah.
Perrier makes it sound like I'm all bougie and I live in Park Avenue. You know,
Yeah, you could be classy as
Yeah.
fuck and still be from Tarpon
Yeah,
Springs. It's
yeah.
all right.
yeah. So that's probably my go-to. Yeah.
All right. Number two, what's your favorite color?
Blue for sure. Yeah.
Dog or cat?
Oh, dogs. I'm allergic to cats. Cats are awful.
I agree with him.
You have cats?
I have one cat, and he's the most badass cat ever.
Yes.
Everyone who has cats say that. Oh, you just haven't had this type
It's
of
not.
cat.
You haven't had the right. Like there are some foods out. Like I won't
Exactly.
eat liver.
Yeah.
Oh, you just haven't had it cooked
You
right.
haven't
No,
had
I've
it
had it
cooked, yeah.
fucking cooked right. It's fucking disgusting.
That's
Um,
how people talk to me about calamari, and I'm like, I just
Right.
don't like it.
We have
You don't like rubber bands?
No,
we have really good friends who have cats, and Kyle came over to watch the Lightning game the other night, the one they won the cup, and he has cats, and he just sat on our couch, and Jan and I both were breaking out just his clothing.
I had a
So
bar.
no cats.
I was working a security detail a while back, and I had to borrow my buddy's body armor because where I was, I didn't have mine, and I needed. forgetting that he's got like 20 cats.
Oh,
I'm working this detail wearing his body, and like my eyes are like huge and blood. Somebody asked me if I was stoned. Like, nope, just
it hits some
allergies.
people hard.
Just it gets me.
It's really bad for me.
Number 4, what is the strangest job you've ever had?
Strangest job. Well, I've been at my current job for 30 years, so I haven't had a lot of jobs. I worked at Toys R Us as a
Nice.
cashier during Christmas time in high school, right when I graduated. They're out of business, right?
Oh, yeah.
There's a reason.
Yeah, you can talk shit about them. That's fine.
They had so many employees at Christmas time. This was in Countryside. And they didn't even need us. We would go in the back and punch in, and then we'd go fishing. And then come back 5 or 6 hours later and punch out. And nobody knew. We did that for like 3 weeks.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's
But I
awesome.
think, I cut grass. I worked at a seafood joint, stocking, but
typical
typical
type
stuff.
jobs.
Yeah. But I've had this job since I was 21.
That's good. That's awesome.
30 years of the same company. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Like nowadays, it's amazing. Forget about just working for the same company. It's amazing for a company to last that long nowadays. Shit.
Yeah.
Number 5, what is your biggest fear? What scares the pants off of Rick?
What scares me? I think when you're a parent, it's an easy answer. Just when my children aren't with me, and when you see things, when people try to grab kids, they grab them off the playground or they grab them at the mall. You're at Publix or wherever, and you're shopping. And my son is almost 10. He thinks it's hysterical to hide around the corner.
Oh,
And it is the biggest fear you'll ever feel.
I'm right with you. I get it.
I mean, there's probably more, but that.
Oh yeah, but no, I get it.
That is terrifying.
Number 6, what is your guilty pleasure song? The song that you'll rock the fuck out to until you get to a red light.
Easiest answer in the world is "Total Eclipse of the Heart"
Oh,
by
God
Bonnie Tyler.
damn, yeah.
I have a thing of like 4 or 5 story songs. "Total Eclipse of the Heart" is unbelievable. Meatloaf's "I'd Do Anything for You," but I won't do that. And then Papa Was a Rolling Stone. Those songs that are long, the Jim Steinem written songs, the ones that are really long, but "Total Eclipse."
That's a great song.
It's not even a guilty pleasure.
It's just a great
I
song.
love it.
Number 7, what fictional character do you most identify with?
Wow, fictional character. I'm a little pessimistic about things, and I guess maybe like a Chandler from Friends.
Okay.
Use
Okay.
sarcasm, but we had this discussion with my fiance. I go into things expecting them to be terrible, and then I'm pleasantly surprised when they're not.
Okay.
She goes in, this is going to be fantastic,
And then
somehow
disappointed.
makes it fantastic.
Oh, all right.
Just by optimism, and I'm not an optimist.
All right.
So I've never been asked that before, but Chandler's a pretty good answer because skeptical of most things.
All right.
Yeah,
I could dig it. Number 8, vanilla or chocolate?
vanilla.
All right.
We were coming home from the stepson's football game the other night. We stopped at Wendy's and I got a vanilla frosty, and she's like, "Vanilla," and I go, "Taste it." She goes, "Oh yeah,
Do you put
That's
your
pretty
fries
good.
in it?
yes."
Okay, there you go.
See, the vanilla I love vanilla shakes. I just can't. The vanilla frosting.
Oh,
Just to
love
me,
it.
it's an abomination.
Love it.
So what positions your stepson play?
He's everywhere.
Yeah.
He's a safety, plays linebacker.
High
He does,
school?
yeah. He's Wiregrass.
I was
Yeah,
gonna say you don't have to say
he's
what school.
fantastic. I heard from his grandfather. I figured was going to say, hey, my boy's great. You got to watch him play, and I did. He's really, really good.
Nice. I played for 20 years, so
Did you?
football's my
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Where were we? Okay, number 9. Go-to comfort food. What makes you feel all warm and fuzzy?
Well, mom's Italian, so a good lasagna.
Yeah.
And something I don't have often enough is I thought I saw something here.
This building could be
The
haunted.
ghost of this office complex.
I've thought that too.
Did you see something?
No, not just now, but
Oh.
the I still am convinced that your elevator's haunted.
No, it's just a piece of shit.
It's haunted.
Yeah,
Could
The
be.
elevator randomly opens and closes whenever it wants.
No, that's because it's broken.
I
And
saw
hasn't-
something.
All right.
Yeah.
I did.
Stuffed peppers.
Ooh.
Yeah, the green pepper with
Yeah.
the stuff.
Oh yeah.
What do you like them stuffed with?
Well, Mom would make it would just be ground beef and tomato sauce and rice.
Yep.
And you put it in there, and she had this thing like a skillet with a big top on it, and there'd be like 12 of them in there.
She doing like a pressure cooker, or
No.
she do okay?
No, just in a skillet with a cover, like whatever they call those tabletop ones.
Okay.
And I just remember having that a lot when we were kids, and I loved it.
Well, back then it was cheap, easy,
Probably,
delicious. Yeah.
yeah.
My grandma, I'm Polish, so my grandmother used to make gołąbki, which is stuffed cabbage.
Sure.
But almost the same thing. It's just it's ground beef, rice in a tomato sauce. Just instead of it being a pepper, it's cabbage.
It's pretty similar.
But she used to cook in a pressure cooker. So good.
I just remembered
Now I want some gołąbki.
this Hungarian stuffed pepper and stuffed cabbage that I had once, and it was really good.
Very similar. It's the Polish stuffed cabbage, very similar. Publix in the deli
I love
department sells
cabbage.
Park Avenue stuffed cabbage is the brand name, and it's pretty close to what my
Do you
grandma made.
remember the stainless steel pressure cooker
I have one.
with the little thing that
I have
bounces
one.
on the top? It terrified me when I was a kid.
Because
I thought
they're
it was
fucking,
gonna- yeah, it was gonna
fucking
explode.
terrifying.
Yeah.
I have one. I use it, and it's fucking terrifying to use. But
I didn't know they still made them.
I have
the
They
one I
don't.
have is fucking the one I have is my
Oh, I
grandmother's.
see.
the one that I have is really old too, and like a year ago I tried to make boba out of it, and I was dumb and I opened it too early and it exploded.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you can't fuck
I
around.
didn't know that.
Gasket, and you lock it like
Yeah.
a
You can't-
submarine.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
You
That's
can't.
how it makes the best rice that I
It-
still use it, and it makes the
Pressure
best rice.
cookers, an old school heavy stainless pressure cooker is amazing. Works so well if you know what you're doing. But if you don't know what you're doing,
Yeah.
it's a fucking bomb.
Yeah.
Like that's why they use them in the bombing in
I
Boston,
guess, yeah.
because they hold pressure and then they go kaboom.
It makes the best rice.
Yeah.
Makes the best rice
You know how I make rice?
in the oven, probably.
Nope, in the microwave.
Oh yeah,
It
that's
comes
right.
out
You told me
perfect.
you're weird.
It's the only thing I cook in a microwave. Let's see. Where were we?
Comfort food. and-
Comfort food. Number 10, favorite cheesy movie.
Favorite cheesy.
Lay the
movie.
cheese on.
I've got a lot of those.
Well, you grew up in the 80s
Yeah.
when cheesy movies were the thing.
Yeah. I was just talking to my fiance about this. We have this discrepancy where I've seen every movie ever made, and then I'll quote lines, and then she'll just say, I don't care. But Can't Buy Me Love
Oh, God.
with with Ronald and the McDreamy, what's his name? Patrick Dempsey.
Delivering the pizzas,
When
extra
he-
anchovies.
No, that's Loverboy.
Oh, fuck.
This is the one where he buys the girlfriend instead of the telescope.
Okay.
He buys the pretty
Yeah.
cheerleader to be his girlfriend for a month to become popular.
Okay.
Stuff like that.
Damn. I always confuse those two movies, probably because of the titles. That is a cheesy movie.
Yeah.
Number 11. What is your favorite literary work?
I'm not a big reader.
No?
I don't know how people can sit and read a book. I know how to read, but I can't focus long enough but I can do audiobooks
No problem.
because I'm in the car all the time. And then
Right.
when I used to
That works.
when I was doing touring and comedy, I would actually get the CDs from the library and
Yeah.
listen to, cheesy Stuart Woods, Michael Connelly, Lee Child, those type of books I like.
All right.
Yeah.
See, to me, like I'm the same way. I can't really sit and read a book, but occasionally I'll pick one up. And when I do, like that's all I'm doing till I'm done with that book.
Yeah.
Like I'm not doing anything
Same.
else.
That's how I am too.
I just get if it's a good book, I just get sucked in. If it's a shitty book, I'll read the first couple pages and like fucking throw it.
I got my fiance, she likes historical fiction.
okay.
So like Little House on the Prairie type, or even period stuff from, the Renaissance, but fiction. And she couldn't be happier.
Do you know if
Nice.
she's into Hamilton?
I don't think so.
Okay.
And I tried to watch Hamilton for my middle daughter. I tried six
Hang on.
times to
Oh,
watch
okay,
it.
okay. I was gonna
couldn't do
say,
it.
The first time my wife put it on, the first time I couldn't watch it.
Yeah.
Then she was like, she did nothing but watch it repeatedly over and over like 2 weeks, and that's all she would talk about. And I would sit and she'd have it on, and then eventually I watched the whole thing, and it was really good.
No, I know it's good.
It was
Like
really
I know the
good.
song, I don't want to miss
Yeah.
my shot. It's
Yeah.
good, but it's just not my thing.
Okay.
And I got some vitriol on Facebook when I said I tried and I couldn't do it. People that were like, they got Disney Plus just for that reason,
Yeah.
and I said, okay, I'll try it. I'll watch it. I just couldn't do
Like
it.
I was just saying, when she first had it on, I probably watched the first 30 minutes of it, and then was like, this doesn't make sense. Like I know I'm a big history guy.
Love history.
I'm like, this isn't right. This is just weird.
Wait,
and
that's why I don't like historical fiction, because I'm just like, that would have never happened.
it depends, but it depends on it depends on the historical fiction. Like some I can get into, but it took several times, and not even watching from start to finish, just seeing bits and pieces. And then finally I'm like, all right, I got to watch this whole thing now.
Yeah.
So it was really good. I couldn't watch it repeatedly like that. I saw it once. I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good.
No, I have friends who play the soundtrack like while they're doing housework.
What I will tell you to watch, what I will tell you
That's
to check
bananas.
out is Weird Al Yankovic
I mean, I love Weird Al.
did a Hamilton tribute, and it was fucking great. And the first person he sent it to was Lin-Manuel
He
Miranda,
probably loved it.
who loved it,
Yeah.
but he recorded himself listening to it.
Really?
So you got his reaction
that's
to Weird Al Yankovic's send up of his production, and it was great. It was really great. But you know, if it's not your thing, it's not your thing. But I got to say, I started off in the same place, and it took a while for me to finally say, okay, I should see this.
Yeah.
And then once I saw it, I'm like, I'm good. But hey, your mileage may vary. Number 12, speaking of history, if you could have lived through any time period, including the present, what time period and why?
Wow. That's a good question.
I could see he was like a 1930s gangster.
Well, that's interesting.
Chicago on
Coming
your
from
belly.
Chicago, that
Yeah,
sounds
that's what I'm
fun.
saying.
But that doesn't seem far enough back. I think
No?
I've always been fascinated by the explorers,
Okay.
you know, the Columbuses and the people that just didn't know anything, just got in a boat and went. I find that fascinating.
That is, and that's,
No, I know
that's
they
a
say,
ballsy
like,
maneuver.
Yeah, like
but-
they discovered things. I mean, you know, the Indians were here and all that, but it was they just knew nothing
well,
and just went. I thought that was just fascinating.
you know, the whole term of discover, like Columbus discovered America. No, he didn't, because the natives were. No,
Right.
he didn't discover it as if it was never discovered. It was never discovered by
For the rest of the world. Yeah,
for the, you know, the civilized world, if you want to call it that.
right.
You know, there was no recordings of it. It was unknown. So while the natives were here, so it was discovered, it was known to humans. It wasn't known to the civilized humans.
Do you ever wonder, like, you know, we hear about Columbus because he was successful. We hear about all these other people because they were successful. How many of them went out to sea and never came back?
Well,
You don't hear about the losers. You only hear about the winners.
Obviously.
I'm fascinated by shipwrecks. If there's a show on Discovery where they're looking for gold or a shipwreck or something, I'll binge it. And so you think about how many of those people, like you just said, you know,
See, to me, my historical jam is Revolutionary War, because of where I grew up. It was, you know, the hot
Sure.
seat of the Revolutionary
Yeah,
War.
right.
So I was around a lot of places that where things took place.
It still exists.
That still exist. You know, there are houses, and there's a church nearby where I grew up. There are headstones that date back to the 1600s,
yeah, it's
and
pretty
it's just
fascinating.
it's crazy that there's in this church there's musket fire from the Revolutionary War. Like, that shit's just like crazy. The Culver Spy Ring happened where I grew up.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, that to me is that's my jam. I like history, because those who do not learn from it are condemned to repeat it. Let's see, where were we? Time period. Okay, number 13. What is your adult beverage of choice?
I'm a wine drinker
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah. My birthday
what-
gift
what-
from my
what's your
fiance
varietal?
was a wine subscription.
Nice.
So we go on the app and pick out 4 bottles every month, and you know,
Nice.
we drink just Cabernet. Just
Okay.
you know, I like a good Malbec if we can get it.
right.
But if we go out, this is crazy because I'm accused of being frugal, cheap. Beer's cheaper in a restaurant than wine.
True.
So like this trip we're taking to Charleston, Savannah, St. Augustine, I'll just drink beer, craft beer, whatever, you know, something cool, something local, and
All right.
but yeah, well, we're big wine drinkers.
Wine is good.
When you pass through St. Augustine, there's a winery up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right at the end of town. Yeah.
Mhm.
I can't remember what it's called though, but it's right. There's a diner across the street and it's right on the corner. Yeah.
Yeah. I love St. Augustine.
We're going there for one night on the way back just to stop for
I
not
go-
have to drive all the way back.
Gotcha.
Hip town. I like it. All right. So you're about to get married in
Right.
2 days.
Yeah.
So this is an extreme hypothetical.
Oh,
But if you were given the hall pass to get any celebrity, they have to be a willing participant. You cannot Bill Cosby them.
okay.
So if you could have in this hypothetical, they are consenting to the act. You're given the pass. Who's the celebrity?
I believe my fiance knows there's actually two, and they're from the same show. We love Parks and Rec,
Okay.
and I love Rashida Jones.
Oh God, yeah.
And I love Aubrey Plaza. My fiance hates Aubrey Plaza,
Have you ever
I love
seen
that.
any of her interviews?
but she's fantastic when she's on Conan.
She's like so
Dry.
well, she's so dry. There's just something about her.
Yeah,
Like there are some dry interviews that are just like unwatchable. Like there's just something about her when she's giving one of those
just
weird ass
very
interviews.
quirky, very weird, and I really think that character grew from her.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't believe that
I
they
don't.
wrote it. The
I
way
don't
she
believe that
played it.
character she's playing is. I think that's just her.
That's just her. Yeah.
That's just her with a different name and written.
There's a great
dialogue.
little movie called Safety Not Guaranteed
Okay.
that she's in, where a guy creates a time machine,
Okay.
and it's a little indie movie that I think one of the Duplass brothers was in it.
All right.
Check it out.
All right.
It's worth it.
I shall check that out.
Hypothetical though.
It's a
Okay.
complete hypothetical.
Okay.
Number 15, 2-part question. I'm a car guy. So what was your first car?
72 Chevy Malibu.
Nice.
Yeah.
What is your dream car?
I'm not a car guy.
Okay.
My fiance actually has a Lexus crossover, whatever those 4-door things are. It's super nice. I love that. But if I had to buy my own car and it was like I could afford anything, I might go back to having a truck. I drove a truck for years. I drove a Silverado,
Okay.
but I might get one of those King Ranch
Big ass fancy ones.
F-250s. It has everything, just fanciness. But yeah, I'm not a
Not a
not
big
a
car guy.
Seinfeld Leno guy that just car. Yeah.
Leno beats out Seinfeld.
I
I don't like Seinfeld.
like his steam powered collection.
Who's Leno's?
Yeah.
Leno's. Let me tell you, I didn't like him as the host of the Tonight Show. I couldn't stand him.
I do this on stage all the time. So I'm always constantly
do I.
wiping my head. Yeah.
I'm a sweater man. I
Yeah.
get it. Like right now, I'm surprised. I'm a little moist.
Well, because you have the fan.
Yeah.
So
But I never liked Jay Leno. Never liked his stand up real much. Didn't like him as on the Tonight Show. But I love Jay Leno's Garage.
yeah, I watch that
fucking
from time
love
to
it.
time. It's good.
I'm like, I'm a big car guy, so that's like. But just the way he talks about the
You know which one I
cars.
really enjoyed was when he had President Bush on. Did you see that?
Yes.
And his wife goes, "Are we ready to go, Bushy?"
Yeah.
And he goes, "Wait, what?
You got
Did you call him Bushy?" You know, and they drove around in some old pickup truck
Yep.
on his farm
Yeah.
and stuff. Yeah, so I watch that. If
Yeah.
if somebody's on that I think I'd enjoy, I watch that. Yeah.
And some of the things the charitable things he's done with like Make a Wish and stuff like that is really cool.
What he did to Dave was pure bullshit. So I'm a Letterman guy.
Okay.
So you ever watch the movie The Night Shift? That they made about
No.
it, the book.
No, never watched it. I know I'm familiar with it.
So
I've never-
worth it. Leno, no, not a Leno guy.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan. Again, I grew up watching Letterman,
Me
so
too.
and
We used to tape it.
I've been
Watch
to
it
the Ed
after
Sullivan
school.
Theater, and I've seen.
Oh yeah, cool.
I've seen live tapings, but ever since Leno left the Tonight Show, I've gotten some fondness for him because of Jay Leno's Garage and because I'm a car guy, and
Yeah.
again, the charitable things he's done, I kind of I dig that. But yeah, I'm Letterman, who's also a car guy.
Yeah,
He owns an IndyCar team, a
that's
racing
true.
team.
That's true.
Where were we? Number 16. This is going to show how old you are. What was the first album you remember buying?
The first album that I ever bought with my own money, which it wasn't timely, but I bought the White Album by the Beatles.
Okay.
Yeah,
Damn good choice.
yeah, because my parents listened to that stuff. They had
Okay.
they didn't have a record collection per se, but we listened to CCR, we listened to the Grassroots, we listened to they listened to country. They took us to Nashville. They took us to Opryland. I've been to the Opryland
You know what's crazy about Creedence Clearwater Revival? Do you know how long they were together?
4 or 5 years.
I don't even
maybe?
think it was that long.
Yeah.
It was like that and done, and so much good music out of that. That's just a little side note that blew my mind. So the White Album was the first one.
I'm a
first one.
huge music guy. I mean, it's my life. I mean, it is everything. I don't play. I don't never did, but I mean, I
You
can't
don't have to
go.
play
with-
music to
I
enjoy
can't
music.
go without listening to music.
Okay.
I mean, it's everything.
Like as soon as you're in the car, music's on.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Number 17. What is the social cause you most stand for?
It's a good question. I grew up in the boys club. So anything that I've done fundraisers for the boys club, comedy fundraisers, anything that will help kids have somewhere to go after school, because that's what it was for us. Got out
Okay.
of school. My parents worked. you know, when we were 10, 12 years old, we had somewhere to go. And I think they're probably failing tremendously now because nobody wants to put every kid, they have to have a computer room, or they have to have,
Yeah.
you know, we went there and played basketball. We played indoor hockey.
It was something to do beyond being just a
and that's why
latchkey kid.
I've made lifelong friends that I'm still friends with. But I would support the boys club any day. Yeah.
So
If that's a social cause, I don't know. Kind of.
I would say it is.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't have to just be, you know, a social cause, but kids, man.
Yeah.
We were talking about that earlier, you know, with you know, having your kids being kidnapped being a biggest fear. You know, I've seen the worst things that human beings can do to each other, the absolute worst. Adults can commit crimes against other adults, violent crimes. I'm not that I'm okay with that, but it's, you know, it's life. But like, you fuck with kids,
yeah,
that's a high level of you're going to fucking hell and burn.
We my fiance and I were big true crime fans. We'll watch any documentary, any podcast, you know, dozens of them that we listen to.
All right, did Carol Baskin kill her husband?
Yeah, of course she did.
Fuck yes, she
did. Yeah. But when it comes to a documentary or a podcast about a kid being killed or being hurt or murdered, you know, anything, it's hard.
I turned down a job when I first moved down here. I turned down a job working security at a hospital because in the hospitals here in Florida, security's job is to move the deceased from the room that they died in to the morgue and put them in the morgue. Knowing that I would have to possibly put a kid into the morgue, nope, absolutely fucking not.
Never,
absolutely not. I'll deal with a fucking crime scene where there's fucking dismembered bodies and blood all over the place. That's cool. I'm fine with that. But kids, no fucking way. I can't. That's one of the things I just can't do. I'm glad there are people out there that can handle doing that. I'm not one of them.
I think everyone should say that.
Well, I don't think the people that are capable of handling that, I don't think they're like, oh, right, a dead kid. Yeah, I don't think they're like that, but they can handle doing that and not lose their shit.
Ever get to that point.
I could, I would lose my fucking shit. Yeah. Like that's just me. Number 18. What is your favorite video game?
Not a video game player.
Okay.
When my son and my future stepsons and they're on the PS4s or whatever, I don't get it. But then I say to them in trying to understand, I can sit and watch the Cubs play the entire game, and that's my thing. That's not their thing. Okay. So it's just, also, I'm not good at it. So, I mean, I had an Atari 2600 when we grew up with Pac-Man and Outlaw and all those, you know, I was okay at it, but it never became a thing. I've never owned a game console.
The video game I've probably played the most in my life is Tetris.
Yeah.
You know, going back, it was back came out of the 80s in, you know, Soviet Russia.
Yeah.
But that's the one, like all these games, my son playing Call of Duty. And I'm like, you know, Call of Duty. All right. Been there, done that shit. Grand Theft Auto. If I want to steal cars and shoot up fucking hookers, I'll just go to Nebraska Avenue. I mean, I don't want to play Guitar Hero. I'll pull out a guitar. It's like,
I was terrible at that.
So I could only get like the third out of 5 level. I could do like the hardness.
I think we had the Aerosmith version, but I
have that one.
I was terrible at it.
I could do it. It's 3 buttons. That's all I could do.
So I'm not good at it. So I never played them.
Yeah. I'm not a video game guy. I don't get it. I can't sit that long and just stare at and just play a game like mindlessly.
Yeah.
But again, I'm a Giants fan watching Giants football. I'm a Mets fan watching a Mets game. Hell, I'll watch golf. Like the big event like the Masters, but I can't sit and play a fucking video game for more than 5 minutes before I'm done with it.
Same.
Number 19. Now there is a caveat to this one. You cannot say comedian. So aside from comedian, what would you consider to be a dream job?
Dream job. I would probably say something research.
Okay.
Animals.
Okay.
Nature. I mean, Discovery Channel, Nat Geo. I mean, I get lost in those shows for hours.
Does the Discovery Channel do like sciencey shows again, or is it
really,
still just reality shows?
Discovery Channel is all about gold.
Oh, that's the thing now.
Everybody's looking for gold.
Oh.
no matter where it is. But
It was
yeah, that would be some sort of research.
okay.
Yeah, like out in the field, not in a lab.
But outdoors
Yeah.
in nature.
Yeah.
I like that. It's probably one of the most unique answers. Number 20. What is the most crazy, weird, bizarre, interesting fact about Rick Stapinski? Something that would surprise
Well,
people.
in this day and age with
Nothing surprises
Yeah,
anybody
with-
anymore.
social media, I mean, everything we do, I got to share that. I don't know. I don't know what would be the weirdest thing about me. That people would be surprised with. I cry easily.
Same.
Easily.
What's the one? What's the thing that makes you cry?
Cheesy movies.
Yeah.
Romantic things. I never served in the military, but those videos of people surprising their kids at school when they've been gone for 2-3 years.
Forget
forget it.
That gets me.
I'll go down a rabbit hole with those for 2 hours.
And just be sitting there bawling your eyes out.
Yeah.
I get it.
And I don't understand men that are afraid to admit that they cry. I don't get it. I don't understand it. It's silly. It's stupid. When you see your kids do something great. My daughter graduated and she gave the speech. She was the president. It was a mess. Why are we afraid to admit that? I don't understand.
All right. I mean,
Yeah.
I get it. Number 21. Is the earth round or flat?
Oh, I was behind a guy in traffic today that had a thing that said, "It is flat." And it was just a picture of the earth that's flat. And I watched the documentary on that. Obviously, the earth is round.
Yeah.
But I watched a documentary on it where this guy was putting these things in the ground and he was shooting a light beam towards it to show that there was no curvature. And they kept coming back to it every 15 minutes in the documentary. And of course, he couldn't get it to line up because of the curvature. And
Yeah.
I don't even understand how this started.
So I
500 years ago, maybe I could get it. But now?
some athlete posted a picture from he was up on a mountain in lower upstate New York and saying I'm however many miles from New York City and I could see the buildings from here. Well, no shit, you're on a fucking mountain.
Yeah.
You see further. The further up you go, the further you can see. Why? Because the further up you go, that curvature changes.
Yeah.
Well, the curvature doesn't change, but your perspective to the curvature changes the higher you go.
Do you ever watch you're a football guy,
Yeah.
Hard Knocks? You watch Hard
Yeah,
Knocks?
yeah.
When they interview some of these guys and they talk about that the earth is flat and they were going on and on about it. And there's some guys that
They
say-
fucking believe
they
it.
say dinosaurs never happened. And when you hear these from athletes, you're like, oh my God. It's amazing.
Dinosaurs never happened. Then explain to me two things. One, those big fucking skeletons they keep finding. And two, how do you power your Ferrari? Where's that come? What is that?
It's fascinating how
Yeah.
people can think that way. Yeah. So if I answered, it's round.
Yeah. We got that.
Yeah.
Number 22. What did you want to be when you grew up?
I want to be a baseball player. I mean, I loved baseball when I was a kid. I played all the way into high school until I lost interest. But yeah, that was the dream.
Yeah.
I was a catcher. I thought that was the route to go, and it would have been. But my high school program at the time was a joke, and I lost interest, and that derailed everything.
That sucks.
Yeah.
See, my high school football program sucked. In 4 years, we won one game. And I was the only one that I knew of, either of either the teams before me or after, while I was there. I'm the only one that played college football.
Really?
Yeah. Everybody was kind of.
We had phenomenal football teams, state championship games, soccer. They won state championships when I was in school. So that's where all the focus was. Baseball was
We had our two top sports teams in my high school, fencing and wrestling.
Wow.
We had an amazing wrestling program and fencing.
Fencing. Interesting.
Fencing, yeah. Who knew?
Yeah.
Who knew? Number 23, what is your preferred music streaming service?
Spotify for sure.
Spotify?
Yeah, I mean, I have Sirius XM. I've had it since the day it came out. The original subscriber had to go to Circuit City and have that thing installed and had this little thing that had to drill into the dash and had to run the wires. I've had it for however long it's been out.
Okay.
And I went to buy my new Jeep and they were showing me cars, and they go, "This one doesn't have X." I'm like, "Move on to the next one. I'm not even interested."
They even offer them without it? I thought
A
it
few
was
of them, a couple of them did.
Wow.
Yeah. But I mean, Spotify is the go-to, I think.
Gotcha.
It's fascinating for someone who grew up in the 80s that you name me any song you like, I play it for you right now. It's unbelievable.
Nice. My final question, and this is the question that will determine whether or not you're ever invited back here: iPhone or Android?
It's a good question. I was team Android for years and years and years, forever. I had the first phone I ever had. And then my fiance has iPhone. All my friends have iPhone. And it was...
You bought into the hype, didn't you?
Yeah, so I got one. And honestly, now, after I got it in February, I don't see any difference
No?
than the Android. So my texts are blue now instead of green. That's the only difference. But I tell you what, before I met my fiance, when I was dating, and you'd meet someone, they would visibly get upset if you were Android. Like the first time you would text them, they go, "Oh," because it shows up green.
Uh-huh.
They go, "Oh, you're an Android." Like, I don't know how that matters. But,
2 out of 2, both Android.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah. But I was since day one. I had the kind used to slide up with the.
Oh, I miss
Yeah, I remember those.
That was the best
I miss
texting thing
those.
ever. You know.
Shit, I remember having a beeper.
Me, I didn't have one.
You didn't
but I
have a
remember,
beeper?
No, but I remembered my dad having one.
Yeah, I had one.
So
I had one when I first started doing comedy because that's how
They could get a
they
hold
would
of
get
you.
a hold
you
of you.
used to text people boobies a lot, didn't you?
Yeah.
No, there was a couple other codes and shit. I remember having the old the Motorola, I forget what the hell they call it, where it was just the screen on the top, and
Yeah.
then the one where it came from on the side, and you could actually send
Oh, I never had that one.
SMS, text messages.
You were fancy.
I didn't have that one. My brother had that one.
That was fancy.
That's how we got gigs. Coconuts would call and say, "Hey, can you do the gambling boat tonight?" I don't know if you guys ever. We used to do that. They'd they'd leave out at St. John's Pass or leave out at Clearwater. You'd go out for 3 hours while they gambled. They give you a free meal and drinks, and then on the way back, you can't gamble anymore. They'd have a comedy show.
Okay,
So they're kind of a
good
captive
idea, yeah.
audience. So they were not great, but
was it pay?
yeah, it paid well.
Paid well. You
Yeah.
were fed. You had drinks.
Yeah.
That's not a bad gig.
It wasn't bad because of what they did.
Yeah.
It was bad because people were coming and
Yeah.
going, and
Yeah,
throwing up, on a cruise ship. But yeah, I did a lot of those.
but beepers were the way. See, I jump on technology, but then I stay with the oldest shit. So like beepers came out. I had the old Motorola beeper with the screen on the top. That's where I stopped buying beepers. Like when all that fancy shit came out, I'm not on top. I just got a new phone, replacing a phone that was just over 3 years old. Like I don't have to go get the fanciest shit.
Yeah, the phone
Does
that
what I wanted to
The
do.
phone that I had before this one was 4 years old. I just remembered having to text my dad from the payphone when I was done with school on his
Oh, wow.
beeper.
You
Now,
did
did
that?
Or
he-
not texting, call his beeper from the
Oh.
payphone.
But now this will show, did he have a direct number, or did you have to call an 800 number, then put in a PIN number to get to his, and then put in the number?
I think it was a direct number.
Because I got in just when beepers had individual numbers is when I got on board. But it used
Okay.
to be, was it SkyTel or something like that,
Mhm.
where you'd
Yeah.
have to call an 800 number, you'd have a PIN number.
I do remember
so it'd
that.
pull out,
Though.
please enter PIN. You'd put in the PIN number for that person's pager, and it'd say, please enter, message, and you type in the message, and then it would send. And then they finally moved on to having direct numbers.
My dad's had the same cell phone number the entirety of the time he's had a cell phone.
Really?
I've had
Yes.
the same number since '97.
Wow.
Yeah, that's probably about when he had one.
My
He had his
my
first
father
phone.
was on the early end of cell phones coming out, so he had a cell phone in like the early 90s.
Mhm.
Not as far back as the 2-part fucking suitcase and brick, but he had it was a giant Panasonic one, and he had the same number from then to when he retired from the company he worked for provided the phone, and then when he retired, he got his own phone, and then had that number till he died. But that original number he had from like the early 90s to the late I can't remember what year he retired from that company, but it was quite a while, and in the early days.
I remember my boss had a car phone
Yeah,
in 1987, and
it was the coolest thing.
He would go, "Hey, go take this and get it washed and get it gassed up." I worked for a hardware store in Tarpon, and I would call my girlfriend. You will not believe where I'm calling you from. It was just mind blowing.
and
And then I'd find out it cost $11 for that phone call.
yeah,
I didn't know that.
yeah.
He'd say, "What is this?"
But then, back in, limousines were a big thing in New York. You don't see them too much down here, but like limousines always had a phone and a TV, and none of them either. They never worked, but they had the phone. But the car phone thing, I watch a lot of, car YouTube channels, and a lot of these vintage cars that came with phones, like if the phone is missing, it takes away from the value of the car.
Really?
Yeah, because it's the collector's, the collector's aspect. But my aunt, I don't know if she still does, but up until a few years ago, she got a Chevy Malibu. She had a company put a phone in her car.
Really?
Yeah. She had a cell phone, but she needed a separate phone.
Now, you said earlier, how old are you?
42.
42. And you have kids.
Yep.
Now, do you have these discussions with them and you find they don't give a shit?
Oh, yeah. Well, my son's kind of into it because he's kind of into cars and stuff.
But I mean, if you just tell them stuff that what we used to have to do.
Well, I just tell them that I'm older than Google, which is true.
Yeah.
And it's like they can't, that's mind blowing.
I can remember being out and about, either sales or doing comedy. I used to keep a notepad of things I wanted to look up when I got home.
Yeah.
Like, how does this work? Or why is that? Or what's this mean? And you keep a list because you couldn't do it.
See, I don't know if they had these maps for this area, but a company called Hagstrom used to make street maps, and they were like pretty good size, spiral bound. You can get them laminated. And they were road maps of the area. And on Long Island, I had one for Suffolk County, one for Nassau County, one for the 5 boroughs. And if you needed to get somewhere, you had to look at the map and figure your route out.
Hey, it's not like that's dead technology. I have a map in my car right now.
When was the last time you used it?
When I first moved here to Tampa and my phone died and I didn't know where I was.
Okay.
I can take you a step further. When I first started doing comedy, I would go to AAA and get the triptych.
Yep.
You know what triptych is?
Yep.
Yeah. And now it had that little plastic spiral in it.
Those were the greatest
things. You flipped it and it would open up, and then it would open up in the city for the extra. The person would highlight it for you to show you how to get to it.
I was recently in a AAA branch that was an older branch. And the person I was with, you look at the wall and there's all these empty like mail slots.
Yeah.
I said, do you know what that is? No.
I knew.
Like, that's where the old triptychs are. It was each.
You could go in and say, I'm going to go on a road trip. I need South Carolina, Georgia. And they would
you tell them your destination.
And they give you a little bag and here you go.
Well, I remember I would go into the AAA office, tell them, okay, I'm going to from here to Murfreesboro, North Carolina, which is where the college I went to is. And they would look the route up and they'd pull the triptych, they'd put it in order, they'd stamp mark it, tell you where you needed to go. If you needed to know where something was, if you wanted to know where the rest stops were, they would mark off rest stops.
That sounds like a job I want to do. I know it's dead now, but
it's definitely dead now.
But I want to do that job.
But those were so cool. And you'd get the triptych and you get the tour book for wherever you were going. The big tour book that would give you all the restaurants, points of interest.
And then we graduated to MapQuest.
Oh my God, I fucking hated MapQuest.
So you could print out your comedy road trip. And I mean, when did smartphones really? I don't even know when they first came around. Like, I didn't have them for any of my early. I mean, obviously,
I would say smartphones really became a big thing in the early aughts, like the late 2000.
I got my first smartphone in 2008.
Yeah.
Before that, I had a regular
BlackBerry. Was
a regular
first,
cell phone.
First jump in. Yeah.
I had a Nextel. I missed a Reconnect.
Oh, those are great.
Yeah.
We had those for work. Those are fantastic.
I missed that.
I liked that you could basically be a walkie-talkie.
That's what it was.
I loved it, but it was also a cell phone.
Yeah.
I used to do that. I used to I liked the Nextel thing.
Yeah.
I was a big fan. I forgot that existed.
but the Hagstrom maps, I mean, it was before MapQuest, and with that, if we were traveling local, because I used to have a delivery route. So I couldn't go to AAA for all my routes, but I'd get like weird roads. So you'd look in the index and it would be like page 3, grid D4 or whatever, and you'd look and that's where it is. You'd find the road and then you'd figure out how to get in and get out.
Do you know when I worked at Barnes & Noble, we sold a surprising number of maps.
They still do.
Yeah.
They still have that section. If you can go to a bookstore,
Well,
I worked at Barnes & Noble for 3 years.
I
until recently.
love, and it's something weird that I'm interested in, is looking at old maps.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah. Especially like the older the maps are, the cooler they are, because you can see how things have changed and, how things have evolved over the years. It's like a nerdy thing.
Well, let me take it full circle back to that first road trip that I took to Florence, South Carolina. My parents came over the night before. It was a big deal. I was going out of town by myself. I was 21 years old. My dad gave me a Ram McNally
Yep.
road atlas.
Mm-hmm.
He gave me $20 gas was probably $1, maybe $1.15.
Back in when you said
90, 91.
90, 91? Yeah, you were probably
So
you were probably
and I had
around
a
$1.
Hyundai, a 4-cylinder Hyundai. So he gave me a Rand McNally, $20, and he told me, "Go be funny."
That's awesome.
It's the best memory.
That is awesome.
Love
Now,
it.
do you still have that Rand McNally Road Atlas?
I probably do. I'm a good hoarder. Yeah, I keep lots of things. Yeah, I have. When I moved from my apartment in with my fiance, I have 8 16 by 16. You get them at Home Depot
Yeah.
boxes full of paper clippings. Newspaper articles, magazines. When I'd go to a town, I'd get the local creative loafing or whatever it was where my name was listed. So I did that for the first 10 years.
And then you're like, whatever.
Yeah. And I still have it. And I just was doing that. Do I keep this or not? I'm like, maybe the grandkids might find this interesting for a moment. So I kept it all.
A moment is probably all you'll get out of that,
I know.
which sucks. If it's not a lit up screen with a
Exactly.
character on it, they don't give a shit. Kids these days. Nicole has one question for you.
Rick, take us through a typical day in the life.
Typical day in my life. Well, I have my kids every other week.
Mhm.
This week particular, I have my son. I have him 50-50. I'm full, my daughters, they're every other weekend. But like today, get up at 6, get myself ready, showered, shave the head. Then I go get my son up. And now we live in Land O'Lakes, 54. He goes to school in South Tampa. So we have a 45-minute both way drive.
Yikes.
So we're going to move to Carrollwood, I think,
Okay.
and split the difference between our children's schools. But he's in a great school. He's been there since kindergarten. If that's what I have to do to have my son every other week, then that's what I do. It's not people that hear it go, "Oh my God, how you do it?" It's just what you do. Yeah. So, and then I do, I don't write as much as I should. I do a lot of sports, I'm looking up sports and thinking I'm in sales. So I'm going from customer to customer and then, pick the kids up and just do the normal. And I lost like 25 pounds during the quarantine. So it was not bad.
I was going to say, you're the only one that lost
I
weight.
went the other way. I run every day. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm probably losing 6-7 pounds doing this show because it's warm in here.
We're here for your health. Man.
Yeah. But
It's like hot yoga. It's hot bullshit.
I come home, I change, I go for a run. And I put the headphones in and you get that hour of just an escape and love it.
Good.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
So what else you got, Nicole?
I got some holidays for today.
What do you got?
Shout out to all the teachers. It's World Teacher Day.
Nice. Does that count the people homeschooling their kids?
Yes.
Fuck yeah.
National Coaches Day.
Hey,
These
all right.
days just come out of nowhere, don't they?
Everybody needs their own day.
Everybody's got a day. Yeah.
National Mad Hatters Day.
Oh, nice.
So go sniff some glue and act crazy. It's National Noodle Day. Did either of you eat noodles today?
No.
I did.
I could. Happy National Noodle Day. I ate noodles too.
Yeah, we had pasta fagioli tonight.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
I had
homemade, it's great.
I had something I've never had before, which I didn't know existed. The ramen packages.
Uh-huh.
So I went to an Asian mart and they have carbonara Asian spicy ramen.
Do you have to add your own egg?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds delicious.
It's also World Space Week. So shout out to my homie Elon Musk.
Yeah, elongated muskrat.
My son, like all 10-year-old boys, is just fascinated with space.
Yeah.
He has this binder tonight at dinner, and it says science on it, and he colored it, each letter. And he goes, "Do you know what that is?" And I go, "I don't know." And he goes, and he named all the planets. Like each letter of the word science was colored differently.
To
by what
correspond to
color
a planet.
The planets were. Yeah.
Wow.
He's,
I like that.
He's 9.
That's cool, though.
I'm definitely a 9-year-old boy then.
Well, I mean, you look like one.
Thanks. I know.
Love you.
So no, it's totally fine. People have been asking me if I was a boy or a girl since I was 10.
That's awesome.
So
So is this how these shows normally
Yeah.
go? They're just
which is bullshit.
free association chatting and
Yeah.
I don't think
do we get to plug a little bit? Can I plug
we'll get-
something? Yeah.
We're going to plug that in a minute. What else you got, Nicole?
No, that's it. That was
Oh,
it.
okay.
I was gonna see if we had any audience interaction today.
No, just your parents, actually.
Oh, okay.
We've had some viewers, just nobody wants to talk.
All right.
Fuck them. So speaking of plugs, what do you got?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously,
Schedule, what do you
I'm
got?
on Facebook and Twitter, just Rick Stepinsky, nothing crazy, handles or names or anything. But I don't tweet as much as I do Facebook,
I fucking hate Twitter.
and I do it. I get it for news. I get my news on Twitter. You know,
Okay.
that's how I found out Eddie died today. That's how I knew. But I will be at the River Wild Country Club in Parrish.
Okay.
Dan Gerlach, I don't know if you know him. He books a lot of shows.
I know Dan very well.
So Dan is very, very nice to me, and he books me a lot. I'll be there October 23rd. And then in December 12th, I'm doing the Beef O'Brady's there in Parrish.
I'm doing that this Saturday.
Yeah, and they do 3 shows now, which
Yeah.
is kind of interesting. To
Well,
do
I don't
because
know
of the social distance.
that
and-
your December.
yeah.
They may change. They may go back to 2 shows by then. Now that
okay.
everything's opened up,
Oh, that's okay.
because
Good.
I'm on this weekend.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, they made it this week. Yeah.
And that now that Madison
Have you done
County,
that room?
Yeah.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Love that room.
Yeah.
Love that room.
I did it in January, and it was it killed. It was incredible.
I did it in February. That was the last show I did. I've done that show with him a couple times, and I did Preston Lacey from Jackass.
I saw those.
I had him.
pictures, Yeah.
I had him down. We did a bunch of shows, and we did one of the shows there.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh,
and
cool.
and that room is probably the most real comedy room in the area. Those people are there for comedy.
Oh, I
And
had
they
2 great shows.
love it.
I loved it. Yeah.
Love it. So,
So I'm always at Snappers. That's my home club, but I got a nice following since I grew up in the area. Usually sell out every time I'm there. So yeah, it's good.
By any chance is Jan Margaret your fiance?
Yes.
She may be catching up on the show because she just posted Aubrey Plaza fucking ridiculous. So yes, Aubrey Plaza, and
So,
she is fucking
I'm
ridiculous.
not sure if she'll be up when I get home, but yeah, she knows. She knows. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So anyway, and the other plug is I'm getting married on Thursday. So
Mazel tov.
life is good.
Nice.
Yeah. I appreciate you guys having me on,
Hey,
and
thanks
you
for
reached
coming on.
out to me about the best of the Bay, and we talked about that briefly, and it was an honor after 30 years to win something.
Finally win. Yeah.
I had fun with it. It's nice to put on my credits.
I
I don't have to send a tape to people. I send something off to this booking agency, and they go, tell me, I tell them what I want, and they go, oh yeah, here's a headlining gig in April. It got canceled.
Yeah.
But it's worth it for that.
Nice.
Very cool.
Very nice. Nicole Iolio.
I actually have gigs to announce
Congratulations.
Yay.
after 8 months or something. You can catch me every Friday and Saturday at Club Marquee in downtown St. Pete. That is a nightclub, which is also an after-hours nightclub. We serve breakfast till 6 in the morning.
Wow.
I got to get down there one of these days.
Yes. You can catch me and K2 Lemieux primarily working there, as well as some of the old Gas Bars girls. Which
K2 Lemieux.
Yeah, so you haven't heard me talk about Gas Bars in a hot minute because they haven't asked us back, but cross your fingers because that is also possibly in the
I'm going
works.
to talk to a guy.
No.
Oh.
Because they're renovating our stage and making it nice for our return.
Oh, then it's expected for you guys to come back.
Yeah, but they're taking a long time to do it.
You want me to fucking hurry that up?
Yes.
Okay.
No, but me and K2 Lemieux have been at Club Marquee every Friday and Saturday, and we will continue to do so for the foreseeable future.
Nice.
Other than that, I'm going to plug K2's shows because she has 2 burlesque shows coming up, one on the 17th at Iberian Rooster in St. Pete, and also the New World Brewery Oktoberfest pumpkin chuckin' carving contest burlesque thing happening.
That's a long flyer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like a whole daytime thing. It's like a whole thing. They have like,
Sounds fun.
yeah, they have like Halloween games for kids. And then at 8:30, they're like, if you're under 21, GTFO, there's going to
wow.
be boobies. And then on Halloween, October 31st, I will be performing for Submission South Beach in West Palm. So
Nice.
my long-awaited return to the fetish scene. And then in November 14th, I have a Hora Loca with Fantasy Events. So I'm back to doing samba, as well as on December 6th, the same thing.
Nice.
So
What about social media links? Come on.
find me on Instagram, Nicole_Raven, NIKOLE.
Saturday night, 3 show times, 4, 6, and 8 p.m. Get your tickets. If you can't figure out the website, which I I've told Dan that website he's using is shitty. Oh, it is.
What is he using?
Ticketing.events.
Eventbrite is way better. It's easier.
Well, I think the prices, I think it's cheaper to do it through there, but
who you with?
Johnny Hobbs and Bill Bull Austin.
Oh, Bull. Yeah,
he's
he's a good friend of mine.
He's headlining. So it's 3 fat bald guys.
You're right. And Dan.
So 3 or 4 fat white guys.
Yeah. Bull's great. I don't know if you know him, but he's
I've never met him. Now.
Yeah.
I've heard about him.
And I worked with Johnny one time. He Dow Thomas passed away many years ago, and we did a benefit show. And Johnny was there. He went up after I did.
Well, what's funny, the last show I did at Beef O'Brien, which is the last show I did, Johnny also did that one.
Did he?
Yeah. So and I
should be a fun show.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good time. So hopefully we get a good turnout for that. But that's the only thing I have booked right now. So book me, motherfuckers. And I believe, you know what? If you're gonna book me in New York, fucking book me. I'll smuggle my ass in there. That's no problem. I don't care. Governor Cuomo can take his nipple rings and kiss my fat black ass. That's the way I see it. Fuck that guy. Aside from that, you can follow me on all social media at Real Roger Nelson. Don't forget to follow, like, share, subscribe this show on all social media at FooBar Weekly. We appreciate you guys watching, listening. We do this every Tuesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern time in the United States. And that's all I got to say. You guys got anything else you want to add? Throw in, plug, tell somebody to go fuck off. Anybody? Oh, by the way, your fiance says, great show, guys. Hot comic.
Yeah.
I think it's his hairstyle. I think that's what it is. That's what it comes down to. So, again, we appreciate you guys watching. Join us next week where we have Sheba Queen of the Night.
Sheba Queen of the Night, local burlesque performer and producer.
There we go.
She's going to be plugging her Halloween show that is Coast to Coast Burlesque, but she can tell us more about that tomorrow.
Yeah,
or next week.
Next week. So that's it, folks. We appreciate it.
Great.
Stay safe.
Don't forget to
spay. Don't forget to spay or neuter your children.
FooBar out.